Okay, today I'm going to talk a little bit about a really big subject and a great mystery, the mystery of Egypt and the pyramids. And the reason I'm going to talk about this is because there's a lot of mysteries out there that can be discussed, but Egypt is one of those things that you just keep coming back to it again and again and again about those pyramids, the Sphinx, the other temples, the weird kind of culture they had, and they lasted for a very long time. So it's a really great mystery, and there's been a lot of really good authors that have written about Egypt, and I'd like to recommend a few books to begin with. The Great Pyramid Decoded by Peter Lemessurier. The author Wallace, E.A. Wallace Budge, I believe he was British, and he wrote a number of books, but this is one, Gods of the Egyptians, and it discusses all kinds of stuff. It's pretty amazing stuff, you know. Then another guy, Schwaller de Libitz, Lubicz, The Temple Man. This is a lot about a particular temple and the astronomical and the basically all the design characteristics, the amazing geometry, incredible stuff, this book. And then he also inspired a really well-known, and I really respect him, his name is John Anthony West, The Serpent in the Sky, one of his first books. He's been researching Egypt for a really long time, and he's done a fantastic job. He's been on TV and so on. Now, these are just some of the books that I've read. But the reason I try to focus on Egypt is because there's some pretty amazing stuff that you have to think about. You know, I mean, a lot of times archaeologists will come across something and it's just too unexplainable. So they said, my mind can't deal with that right now. We don't all understand. So we're just going to put that over there on the table there. And in the process, for a long time, for example, there was something called the Rosetta Stone that was found. I've forgotten when it was, but it was deciphered finally with three different passages, the same passage in three different languages, including the hieroglyphics. So they had some understanding of how to translate those hieroglyphics. The hieroglyphic system that was used in Egypt is unlike anything else. I mean, the closest I could say is the Mayans. They had some very pictorial type of language. But Egypt lasted for a very long time, and there's a lot of parts of Egypt that are very mysterious and very misunderstood and just completely mind-blowing, and we can't get into all those things right now because there's just too much. But I want to focus a little bit on the pyramids, and you just have to say, okay, listen, if you take all this information in and you just pause, you don't have to understand everything, you don't have to explain everything, but just take it all in. And then you have to think about it for a minute. Because the answers to some of these mysteries start really unraveling a whole bunch of... I mean, there's a lot in this. Now, currently, I'm not an Egyptologist, okay? And I'm not a mathematician. I have a good aptitude for math and geometry in particular. I've done a lot of reading and so on, but you have to just kind of take a look at some really basic math and some ideas. Now, we are told that the Egyptian pyramids are about 2500 BC, roughly. Okay, let's just use raw numbers. So roughly 4,500 years, they say, okay, these people built them. We are told now that they basically built them in 20 years, 1.3 million blocks. A lot of them are kind of just normal blocks, but some of the ones in the middle are up to 75 tons, incredibly heavy blocks. And those are granite, by the way, and precisely positioned, amazingly precise. It's perfectly level. It's aligned precisely with the stars, directions, with constellations. There was no mummy found in there. There's no hieroglyphics inside the pyramid. It's settled maybe a quarter inch after thousands of years. There's 3 of these pyramids, and they're all multiple alignments with, to Orion and so on. There's incredible accuracy in shaping the granite that's inside, almost as faster. It's been actually said by engineers who are in the business of drilling stone that there's some cuttings inside the pyramid and elsewhere in Egypt that had to be done. They don't even know how. We can't even do it today. That's how good that is, how accurate it is. And there's other huge monuments. Now, we're told that they built these in 20 years. Now, there's no wheels. There's no trees in there in Egypt. I mean, there's hardly, I mean, come on, it's a desert, you know. There aren't any trees. Not hardwood trees like we need. Copper tools. They didn't have any even iron. They finished a block, completely cut, set, absolutely precise, installed every 3 to 6 minutes. If you do the math, the millions of blocks, divide by 20 years, and how many shifts that's what we're told. That's what it comes out to. Now there's debatable how many shifts they did and but somewhere in there, I mean, come on, you know, every 10 minutes you put in a block like that, completely finished. Now, it had to have a really long ramp because to get up the top of the pyramid, and they kept having to make the ramp higher and higher and higher and higher. So they're saying, okay, right in the middle here is this chamber that's incredibly precise, has these incredible channels, just precisely carved blocks, just amazing accuracy. And then it has these channels that are aimed at stars and their vents, and then there was a casing stones that made it shine. I mean, unbelievable. This is an amazing, amazing construction. And it was supposedly made with no telescopes. There's no computers or blueprints. And there's no evidence by the Egyptians describing how they built it or what tools they used. They had a weird, weird culture. That's Egypt. Now, what I think that the books I recommended earlier, and you just take some of this in, because it starts to beg the question, okay, now how did the people do this? We can't do it. So what happened 5,000 years ago? Something was going on. Something really, really big was going on. And we're completely oblivious to it unless we understand what really happened and what's going on in our planetary culture that's been going on for a really long time. Now, we're going to get into some of that more, but there's so much about Egypt that you just have to start thinking, okay, something terribly wrong about the way we understand history. Why did people watch the stars for such a long time, for example, for thousands of years? Why did they build whole cultures on it? Were they stupid? Or were they smart? Okay, so now, if that's true that they were really smart a long time ago and they can do stuff that we can't do now, it starts to make you wonder, okay, open book fight, let's find out what's going on here. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in some of the other segments.